Hi, this is Daniel Hutchins, and today we're going to be doing an article from our friends Den of Geek. Okay, so we are going to go to comics, and we're going to be talking about how Harley Quinn brings a new anti hero attitude to DC's Infinite Frontier. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is an old article. So, as DC heads into the next stage of Infinite Frontier, Harley Quinn is growing too. Okay, so there's a really hot picture of her down below. And then Harley Quinn is ready to make amends after decades demolishing Gotham and decimating its citizens alongside the Joker. She's seeking forgiveness. That's where we find the anti-hero in Future State. The two-issue event ends this week and sets up a new status quo for the Maid of Mayhem. Den of Geek chatted to Harley writers about Future State and Infinite Frontier and how Silence of the Rams influenced some of the best moments of Harley's recent crime-fighting adventures. Okay, so Future State Harley Quinn introduced us to a Gotham where heroes were outlawed and militarized police force known as the Magistrate rules supreme. Within this world, Harley is a woman in prison, literally, until Jonathan Crane asks her for help to catch the criminals of the city. So it's a recognizable setup, one that Phillips took directly from a classic movie. It was funny, Phillips raps. We initially knew we wanted a Clarence, and then we were like, I think Jonathan Crane should be Clarence. I don't think I ever expected to hear Jonathan Crane's name used in that way. Phillips does make a great job of setting up both funny and worthwhile, and it establishes one of the most important things the writers wanted to convey. I really wanted to see Harley's intelligence played up. I think one of the best ways I could think of to approach was to give her someone really intelligent to play with to show that she's not just outsmarting a bunch of random henchmen. She's outsmarting everyone by academically speaking, which is almost her equal. We see Crane's ego getting in the way, and I think that's a really cool element to Harley, and that she's able to read the room. She's able to be patient. So the dynamic between Crane and Quinn is at the heart of Future State Harley Quinn. Witty, full of character, and perfectly placed, the dialogue from the showcases Phillips' prowess, as does the deft thought process that led her to this. I wanted their verbal dynamic to be a lot like physical sparring when I trained her as a fighter. There's a lot of fight style that's based on patience. That is not my normal go-to because I just want to get the ring and punch somebody. But this style I trained her in is very much you reading the enemy and using that against them. And I wanted to show that Harley can do that in a very intelligent way. So I tried to make their dialogue very much like they're in the ring doing that dance, whether they're actually throwing punches or not. So of course, just like Hannibal before her, it's Harley's who ends up besting out Clarence, and it all comes down to her smarts. Harley is using everything that Crane gives her against him, using that to gain her own freedom. I thought that was a lot of fun to write that way with Harley because we see her solving problems a lot with mallet or a baseball bat, which of course we love. And as you saw in issues 2, getting to finally write the line with Harley where she says, now let's smash some stuff. But I think it's about having the balance with Harley. With the final issue of Future State Harley Quinn out now, believed the crown princess of crime at the top of her game, having bested out the boys of Gotham once again, but her story is far from over. In the Harley Quinn ongoing, we'll see just how she got to future state. We're going to see a start of Magistrate and the build up to future state, Phillips teases. It's fun to play with that and build up a little bit more humor into the ongoing. She's definitely silly and witty, but I want to show that Harley's humor is very deliberate and can be used in so many different ways to help her read the situation and get a better feel for it. Based on how people are reacting to her, if you can find the weakness in your enemy, even if it comes about through making so many annoying jokes at them that they finally crack, that's still Harley being able to push those buttons, but in a fun way. So, jumping in between timelines from Future State to Infinite Frontier, it makes perfect sense. That being said, if it all sounds very disconnected from the DC books you're reading, don't despair because Phillips was keen to explain how Harley ongoings connect with some of your favorites. At the end of the Joker War, Harley really takes a stance of Batman has never been able to kill the Joker. I can pull the trigger, I can change this. And I think that sets Harley on a path, Phillips says. Early on, a punchline cuts her throat. So we have this trauma of I came back to Gotham, I tried to do something positive, and it went sideways. But through what she tried to do to Joker, there's a little bit of redemption there in the eyes of Batman. So I'd say that this is the most positive relationship we've seen between them in a while. And Harley's taken that as a momentum that she needed to say, if I'm coming back to Gotham, I want to do it the right way. But Harley's vision of the right way doesn't necessarily bode that well with Gotham. One of the things I love about Harley is sometimes she might say that this might be the right way to do the thing, and the rest of us are like, no. Phillips says, but in her mind, it makes sense. I love that she justifies it, and of course, her heart is in the right place. But I think that the fun of writing a character like this, she wants to move forward, but because it's Harley, we'll probably see a few steps back. She is not perfect by any long stretch of imagination, but she's trying to be better. And I think that that's what makes her one of the most relatable characters in the DC universe. While both in Future State and the new Harley Quinn ongoing, a new, more heroic side of Harley, she's still the same wild card that we know and love. Even with the kind of hero's journey that we might be taking her on this ongoing, I still like that there's a very independent side to Harley. It might explore that it means for Harley to even be near the Bat family, but she's not really a part of it, you see. It's more complicated than that. But there's still this element of Harley standing on her own. So when I thought about where Harley is in Future State years from now, she's very much like, I'm not really on anyone's team. She doesn't really agree with the Black Mask. She obviously doesn't agree with the Magistrate is doing. So she's like, you're both idiots. I walk my own path. I just think that's Harley's perfect message. So there you go, guys. That is a little bit of information from Den of Geek that I wanted to show you. And about earlier, if you wanted to see that picture, here it is. There's that awesome picture of her right here. So it's pretty awesome. So, again, we're going almost 10 minutes in this video. So I just want to kind of wrap things up real quick. I know I was supposed to do this article discussion a lot sooner, but I decided I needed some time to kind of think about what content I was going to talk about, and so that's why you might be like, why am I late with this article? Is because I had other things going on, so I'm really, 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 really sorry. So, again, if you guys love my content, please hit a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. And you guys have a wonderful night. Bye.